It's time once again to make some more video collages. Now the last time I did it, I kind of changed up the format where instead of focusing on the videos first, I focused on the graphics first, as in like, making the design in Photoshop and then adding in the videos after. I got a lot of good feedback from that, and I also really enjoy doing it, so we're gonna continue doing that today. So I went ahead and I found all the videos that I want to use, and I made sure that I can use them in the way that I want to. So now it's just time to jump into Photoshop and make the designs. So the first thing I did was take a screenshot of some of the videos that I was going to use and brought them into Photoshop so that way I have a reference for the design. Now this first one, I already had a concept in mind. I wanted to have these two rectangles on one side, and then on the last side, or the last third, I was going to put some kind of word there. Whenever I went into this, I really wasn't sure exactly what word I wanted to use, but I had some kind of idea in mind. I wanted it to be something like shadow or umbra, something like that. They just seemed to fit with the way that the hand looked, so I thought it was appropriate. So I just played around with some different options just to kind of see what would work best. I also had to play around with the font because I wanted it to be the exact same size as the other rectangles, but that's kind of hard to do with words. So I had to pick a word and a font that I could stretch to make fit into that shape. After that, all I really did was just kind of add some interest to the center, just so it wasn't so bland. I played around with some other ideas that I thought might work after that, but really I liked it where it was just a little bit simpler. Now with the second one, same idea, where I already had a video that I wanted to use, so I just took a screenshot of it and brought it into Photoshop for reference. Now, since it's a bird, I thought it would conceptually make sense to add some kind of like sky kind of theme. So I thought it'd be cool to put a circle behind it and then add a sky in later. And then I would just dress it up from there. So really, I just kind of started adding some stuff, just trying to see what I could make and just kind of see where it brought me. There's something I like to do a lot, and I kind of just lean on whenever I'm not really sure what exactly I want to do, is I'll just kind of add some circles and put some textures and patterns in there, just to kind of make it a little bit more exciting, put some more interest, and that way it's just not flat colors. I figured these would also look good whenever it came to kind of animating them and making them look like they float around, so I thought it'd be a good idea overall. But the last thing that I wanted to do, just because I felt like it was a little bit bland without anything else, was just to add a little bit of a scribble, just so it felt a little bit more chaotic and try to bring everything together so that way it wasn't so empty and everything felt so disjointed. Now this third one, I'm starting with the design first and then I'm adding in the video later. So I just started in Photoshop and I didn't really need to worry about grabbing a reference or making sure that the video was usable in After Effects. Unfortunately, Photoshop wasn't doing a good job at removing the background from the image. So I had to do that all by hand, which took forever and I hated it. But once I did that, really most of the work was done. I already kind of had the idea where I wanted to have that kind of arch shape, and I wanted just to kind of do something interesting with that. So I just spent time just to make sure that all of the margins were correct and felt right, just so it was even around all of the margins. I had the space in between the two shapes that felt a little bit empty, but I figured I could put some words and some text there, just to kind of add a little bit of something, but not too much to draw away the attention from everything else. And now the last thing that I wanted to do was kind of add some stuff on the top left and top right to kind of reinforce the borders around the piece. I have these shapes that I like to work with that I thought would look good and work, so I just started adding those in and just kind of seeing if there was anything else that I could do to kind of make them look a little bit better, not just kind of random design assets that are just kind of sticking around. But in the end, the only thing else that I really added was just the two lines below them just to kind of reinforce them. So here are the final results. I think out of the three that I did this time, I think the third one is my favorite. Now this first one I think is really cool just because of the way that the shadow interacts with the gradient map that I've used on the hand, the way that it kind of twists and turns. It has this a really interesting look that kind of feels wrong, but there's something about it that's just really interesting. And I also like having kind of these bars that kind of fill up the space and just have a really nice border around it. But then you have the hand that destroys the illusion that everything is kind of siloed into these boxes. Now the second one is okay. Honestly, I feel like I kind of skimped out on the concept a little bit. I feel like maybe I could have thought of something a little bit more creative and a little bit more adventurous. But that being said, it's not terrible. It's just not my best work. Like I said, I think the third one is my favorite out of the three. I like the shape and I like how it kind of frames up everything, but then you still have a little bit of spot in the top corners to kind of add some pizzazz and kind of just add a little bit more to the design. I do feel like I would have liked to have taken a little bit more time and maybe do a little bit something else. I think the only thing that I'm not super happy with the design is I think I might have wanted to take a little bit more time to go through some of the details and maybe change a couple things, but I don't want to take too long and go over too many details and get stuck in the weeds and stuck working on something indefinitely, because I can definitely do that. But I do really like this and I think it's really cool. Now these were the collages that I wanted to make for this video specifically, but during the week while I was making this video, I was working on some personal artwork and I thought some of them might benefit from a little bit of a video or animation upgrade. So here are those two designs with a video or animation. I really like this first design. It's really fun and has a lot of cool movement. The only thing that I'm not super happy about it within this context is it's more of like an animation than it is a video collage, even though that there's a video of the sky in it. But I feel like that's a little bit cheating since it's the only video part of it. Now the second one is really cool. I thought I actually might use this design for one of the video collages, but I started the design in a different aspect ratio, and by the time I got back to thinking about turning it into a video collage, it was too far gone, and trying to make it work into the aspect ratio that I normally do for my video collages just wasn't going to work out. But since I knew it would fit into this design style, I wanted to turn it into a video collage and show you guys. Let me know what you thought about these, if you would do something different, or if you have some advice, or if you have some critiques. I'd love to hear them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you would check out the rest of my channel and then consider subscribing. I hope to see you in the next video.